Hare Krishna, my name is Basu Ghosh Das. I've been residing in India for 42 years. I joined ISKCON in Chicago in 1973. So that puts me 43 years completed in ISKCON. So ISKCON is an upai, a means of spreading Vedic culture and Vedic Shastras, the teachings of Vedic Shastras all over the world. In fact, 5,000 years ago, the whole world was Mahabharata. At that time, from what we understand, that everyone was following the Vedic culture, the culture that we find described in the Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and other itihasas and Puranas. So that culture is based on Varnasrama-Dharma that's mentioned in the Vedas. In the Shukla Yajurveda 22:22, there's a mantra. Ah Brahman Brahmano Brahmavarchasi Jayatam. I sent you. I sent that. There, all the four orders are described. Of course, in the Purusha Sukta, Brahmano Osya Mukamasit Bahura Janya Kritaha Urutadasya Yad Vaishyaha Padbhyam Gum Shudro Ajayata. So, Brahmano Mukama, the Brahmanas came from the mouth of the Virat Purusha. Kshatriyas came from the arms. Bahu Rajanyaha, kings. Kritaha was made. Uru Tadasya Yad Vaishyaha, the mercantile class, businessmen, traders, and agricultural landlords, you can call them, people who owned land, not the labor class, and who had kept cows. These are the Vaishyas. And from the two legs of the Purusha, the Shudras were born. So Shudra means paricharyatmakam karma, activities that require service to others. Pari, others. Paricharya, following others. Paricharyatmakam. The essence of paricharyatmakam, the essence is following others. Atmakam, essence, I say, but the very soul of the work. Karma work. Paricharyatmaka, having to follow others. Kim karaha, what should I do? Kim, what? Karaha, to do. Kinkar, servant. So there are synonyms for servant. Dasaha, sevakaha, kinkaraha, paricharakaha. So these are synonyms. There must be many more. That will be described in the Amara Kosh. Amara Simha was a Buddhist, in fact, had compiled a list of Sanskrit synonyms, the Amara Kosh. I have not memorized that, but there will be a number of synonyms given there for servant class. So these four classes were created according to Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna himself. cātur-varṇyaṁ mayā sṛṣṭaṁ guna karma vibhagashaha. I create these four divisions, social divisions. The aim of these divisions is peaceful coexistence, peaceful coherence in human society. Human beings need a place to stay, food, and clothing. So the production of food and clothing has to be organized, and Varnasrama-Dharma does that. So besides these four orders, there are women. The women are not called the fifth order. The women are, but they have separate duties. So there's Vaishya Dharma, Brahman Dharma, Kshatriya Dharma, Vaishya Dharma, and Shudra Dharma. So Dharma actually is synonym of karma, in fact. Maybe not in every sense, but certainly there's an overlapping of what our nature is and our activities. So there are people inclined to study and teaching and other Brahminical activities. And there are people who are inclined to lord it over. And but see, lording it over according to the Vedic concepts, that is Kshatriya Dharma. If someone lords it over and doesn't follow rules of decency and proper behavior and the Vedic outlook, then he becomes like King Vena. A king but not fit to be a king. So king lords it over, but doesn't mean that he doesn't have compassion or other good qualities. It's to summarize what a king should do in a few minutes is difficult. But in the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata, Bhishma Dev, Bhishma Pitamaha, gives an extensive description of the duties of the Kshatriyas and all the duties of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I will. Of course, this is, from your description, very authentic. I mean, it's there in our Shastra and whatnot. If we come down to present-day society, there are problems. In terms of general society, in terms of our ISKCON society, also for introducing or understanding what's the root cause of that and how to overcome that, and is it really still essential in present-day society?
I think Lord Krishna explained to Arjuna that one who gives up the Shastra Vidhi and acts according to his own desires doesn't attain perfection in life. Nasa siddhim avapnoti nasukam. He cannot be happy, na paragatim. The forces that oppose following Shastras are subtle sanskaras, subtle impressions from our youth, of especially persons who were not educated in Vedas. But that's like almost everyone in society now, except there are, we know, Brahmanas all over India, mostly in South India, but in Maharashtra and even in Bengal, there's a few left, very few. And in the north, there are some who study the Vedas in the childhood, so they get the Vedic sanskaras. There's a Vedic educational system. And even conservative devotees in ISKCON don't want to adopt that. What we see other sampradayas, and we're talking even Vaishnava sampradaya Brahmanas, Madhvas and Ramanujas mostly, even a few Vallabh sampradaya acharyas, very few. And it's supposed to have been all the sampradayas that they would study Vedas, and so the Veda mantras would be in their head. These type of mantras, like the Purusha Sukta and the Shukla Yajurveda Varnasrama mantra, Brahman Brahmano Brahmavarchasi Jayata Maharashtre Ishanyo Shuro. I didn't memorize it, unfortunately. You see, because we means there's a resistance. We see resistance to the Varnashram concepts by people wearing the dress of devotees.
Why?
The subtle, you see, the seed, Prabhupada called it the hippie seed. For At that time and circumstance, the hippie movement was, you know, very popular, so he called it the hippie seed. But what it really is that we were given the wrong training. Prabhupada used the example of a school in Switzerland, that, or was it a Chutananda Swami? Maybe he used that example. Ex-Swami, formerly Swami, whatever. There's a school in Switzerland. If you studied before you entered the school, you had to pay more because you learned the wrong way. And that's really what it is. We were, you know, like, I could give some gross example, but maybe I won't. But I will give it in a more general way. In our childhood, we saw, what do we call it? What's the word in English? Wow, you got me struggling here. This is not good for the camera, I know. Obscene literature.
Right.
We were exposed to that. Literature, movies, TV, our family. Just before I became a devotee, I worked on a construction site. I was going to go to the university, and my father said, you know, make some money, go get a job, and you'll have some cash in your pocket. And so I said, well, help me. So he got me a job on because he was a real estate broker, and he knew some construction people, and he got me this job. And the construction workers, you know, are Shudras, and they talk about, you know, intoxication and illicit sex. The whole Western society, and what to speak of Western society, the most popular actress in Bollywood has a TV show in America now. And yeah, I've watched it. And her message is meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling.
Hedonism.
That's the message of the show.
Hedonism. Hedonism.
Yeah, hedonism, hedonism, I don't know how they pronounce it. I used to say hedonism, but then I heard hedonism. So, materialism.
Right.
And we had this materialistic, we means Westerners especially, non-Hindus, but even the Hindus.
No.
Nowadays, you don't find people getting the Vedic education. And the system in India was that only Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, basically those two, even Vaishyas hardly studied the Vedas, although they're supposed to,
right,
because they're Dvijataya, they're from the twice-born community. I mean, the system in that community was that there was Vedic sanskaras.
What can ISKCON devotees individually and ISKCON as a society do to redress or correct the situation?
Education. But in what's happening in ISKCON in the name of education is Western education. If someone has a PhD, he's qualified. Bhakta Amy is qualified. She never got initiated. She hasn't studied Vedic literature. But hey, she's in a university. She's got a degree. She can guide us. This is the anartha, unwanted things that are in the name of religion. What can I say? I mean, we have to educate people in Shastras. And we're also going about it the Western way. Actual way of studying Shastras is to memorize them. And then you can pull it out of your memory, and the teachings are there in the Shastras. Prabhupada took great pain with the purport system.
Yes.
And before him, Bhaktisiddhanta. And then we know that he translated from the commentaries of many acharyas. However, the shlokas themselves are pretty clear. The interpretation of the impersonalists have spoiled the clear meaning of the Shastras. So counter interpretations were put forward by Vaishnavacharyas. And of course, I'm not opposed to them, but I think that the old system was that you memorized the Shastras themselves, and the meaning became clear, and especially if you knew the grammar, which I haven't studied, I'll be full disclosure, honest about it. And then, you know, you would get the clear meaning.
Means Gurukula.
Gurukula, various, but see, in the name of Gurukula, you have Western education. So then how is it Gurukula? Kula means home, or it means family tradition. So really, like Sandipani, Krishna's guru, his home was the school. That's still followed in many places in India. There are institutional schools and there are schooling at home. And so why not carry on with that ancient tradition? But because people are weak, or they have no touch.
And most people don't have homes. Like in the cities, like people live in apartments very often.
Yeah, the nuclear family, the extended family, the traditions are being destroyed by modern urban life. Just getting to and from work, you waste hours every day that could have been used for, well, I also waste hours. I mean, this is due to past bad habit.
Should ISKCON as a society really promote agrarian life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Urban life is artificial.